everyone, and welcome to this underwater special in the Maldives. What an amazing place, despite the pandemic effect on the travel and tourism industry. This was my first scuba dive in over 4 years, and that's me getting my orientation back after jumping off the surface. I had to do this PADI refresher course, which included equalizing air pressure, buoyancy control, and small calculations equating water depth and lung capacity. That's Aaron. He's my guide and instructor. Great guy, always checking to see if I'm okay. He has this compass on his hand that navigates us around, and it's pretty easy to get lost because all you see is blue after a certain depth. We began our dive at around 3 p.m. that day. Water was warm and pleasant. Visibility and clarity were decent. We could see anywhere between 5 to 10 meters around, but the light wasn't so great due to cloud movement. There wasn't much light coming in through the surface of the water, and it caused this dark and shadowy areas in some parts and at the beginning of this video. And then we came across this area with a lot of dead coral all around. It's sad to see something like this because it echoes the words of Leonardo DiCaprio in his 2016 National Geographic documentary film called Before the Flood, where he talks about the alarming rate at which the ocean's coral reefs are disappearing. And as much as 50% of the world's coral reefs have already gone. That's me, underwater selfie, wrapped to the teeth with scuba gear. So there's only so much CO2 that coral reefs and rainforests can absorb from the atmosphere. But with both disappearing so fast, it would seem that we have pretty much sealed the fate of the planet. Here's what appears to be some thriving coral, living but could be dying too. But since there's fish around, it would seem that this coral is alive. And where there's fish, there's always food for fish. Soft, white, silty ocean sand. I got down to the bottom of the ocean floor with my belly on the sand to get a close-up shot and some video of this lionfish that we saw somewhere around here. And it's supposed to be a colorful fish, but you don't see any color in this shot because there's no light coming in through. Red is the first color that disappears, even as shallow as 5 meters, followed by orange and yellow. I did try to get something back in a still image, but you can't really see any color except for this green tinge. Blue is the only color that lasts but up to 60 meters, and then, even then, no diver would venture beyond 40 meters as the oxygen level becomes very toxic at that depth. We start to see the first of some rock formations as we move away. And this one has some coral on it, although there's plenty of dead coral as well around. It's pretty clear without much light, and here's a still image from that scene. Then we saw this big rock with some coral and some colorful fish on it, and luckily some good light as well. As you can see, there's some waves. That's the ocean surface, so we're not very far down below, which is good because we got some light and I was able to get some still images. Here's one, not too bad actually. Oh, and then we came across these poser fish, just hovering. Looks like they could be sleeping because I've come so close and they're not scared, they're not shy. Just let me come up close and take this picture. I didn't want to follow them, but I did take some still images, and luckily there was some light. Oh, there's Aaron leading the way. So here are those still images. Brought some color back, and luckily there was some light as well. Beautiful how this oceanscape looks when there is some actual light. Unfortunately, I didn't have my strobe light, underwater strobe light for this dive, so I just used a normal underwater camera with some housing and hope that I got some good light. Here's another little fella burrowing in this hole in the coral, and we're swimming away now, little further away from the shore, not too far away. I think this was the point when I realized that there was something wrong with the zoom stick on my camera. I would zoom in and it would automatically zoom back out. Now the camera's in the underwater housing, so I had to try and get it fixed. I tried working it through the housing. It caused some camera shake, but I don't think I got it working. So there's gonna be some zooming in and zooming out through the remainder of this video. Sorry about that. Here's another poser fish, just hovering again, and definitely sleeping, because up this close and he's not moved away. I did get a still image from a different angle, and I actually swam around him in a one full complete circle. It didn't move an inch, so definitely sleeping. So something good coming up now. We saw this beautiful cluster of snapper fish, school of fish they call it, but look how they are just one community swimming together almost telepathically. And it's beautiful to see something like this way, which reminds us about the peace and harmony of these creatures, as something that we could probably learn from, especially since we are supposed to have evolved from the sea millions of years ago. guess it's not too late, or all is not yet lost, but there is still work to be done. And it starts with realizing that we are as much a part of this ecosystem as we are on land, not just for the preservation of our own species, but because we are just a tiny, minute, minuscule part of nature on the whole canvas of creation that existed millenniums, eons ago, before the first human ever came into being. This little fella is one of my favorites, which I was lucky to see during the dive. And it's not hard to see why it's called the Picasso triggerfish. A little more light, and those lines and colors would have really shown through. Beautiful fish. And watch as it does this ritualistic dance, nibbling and picking up morsels of food from the seabed and then spitting it out and repeat. That's 50 minutes downtime, and the most I've been underwater. And there's also less than 25% air left. Time to head up. See you topside, and thank you for watching.